Without a doubt, solo Tarkov can be one of the most intimidating and frightening experiences that a gamer can have. And with the newest wipe coming closer and closer every day, there are probably a lot of you guys out there who are thinking about who you're going to be playing with this coming wipe. But there might be some players out there who don't have anybody to play with, or they just like to run solos in general. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my top tips and tricks on how to get through and survive the early days of a wipe in Escape from Tarkov. Tip number 1. Use the best gear that you can. This goes for everyone, not just people that play solo, but it is especially important for those solo players to wear the best gear that they can as soon as they can. If you get lucky and somehow come across some level 5 or 6 armor early in the wipe, then that's the best time to use it. Using that armor early wipe when everybody's using low tier ammo is going to save your life more often than not, especially if you're going head to head against multiple players. You're going to need that extra advantage because most players early in the wipe will play with either a duo, trio, or a squad. And being able to absorb more damage without having to take time to heal just evens the playing field a little bit more for those solo players. So if you do run across some good gear, don't be scared to use it because it's just going to help you survive more going against those larger teams. Tip number 2. This is a pretty underrated tip, and it's something that you can do for every single raid before you even get into the raid. If you're a solo player, then make sure you're going to bring enough ammo and magazines, that way you can hold your own. What I mean by that is typically a lot of players will end up bringing just 1 or 2 spare mags into a raid thinking they're okay. Well, in early wipe, that might not be the case, especially as a solo player. If you're a solo player, and you do come across a team of either 2 or 3, then typically you're probably going to end up burning through at least 1 mag per person. Unless you have some type of scope or some decent attachments on your gun, you're probably going to be using a lot of ammo and you're probably going to be missing a lot of shots. And what that's going to lead to is you running out of ammo before you end up killing all the other players that are pushing you. And that's something that you can completely avoid if you bring 1 or 2 extra mags than you normally would bring. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking that it's probably not worth it to bring those extra mags and to waste all that ammo, but all the early wipe ammo is low tier ammo that's pretty cheap. Since that early wipe ammo is that cheap and really isn't that great for later in the wipe, there's no reason to hoard it and stockpile it because you're not going to use it later on, and it's best to be used now when it can benefit you rather than go to waste later. So trust me when I say this, just bring 1 or 2 extra mags and it's probably going to save your life in a lot of situations where there's multiple players pushing you. I know from personal experience, it can be extremely frustrating whenever you run out of ammo in the middle of a fight and all you can do is just give up at that point because you have nothing to fight back. Make sure to bring those extra magazines in to keep you in the fight. Tip number 3. Be picky about your fights. Now sure, sometimes a team can just roll up on you and there's nothing you can do, where they know you're there and they're just going to push you no matter what. But there's a lot of times where you will see a player or a squad and they have no idea that you're there, and you have the option where you can just let them pass or you can try to take the fight. Well, especially in early wipe situations, there's going to be a lot of situations where you're going to want to just let them go rather than try to take a fight that will ultimately end in your death. The whole goal of early wipe is not to get into as much PvP as you can. That can be saved for later in the wipe. The whole main goal for early wipe is just to survive. And in most situations, it's better to try to avoid PvP if you can in order to achieve this. I know it's not as fun to do, and I know you want to take those shots, try to kill some PMCs, but unless you have a good sight or you catch somebody who's looting or something like that and they're standing still, then in most situations early wipe, it's not worth it to kill them. They're not going to have any gear that you're going to want to take because it's all just low tier early wipe gear and you're just going to get rid of it pretty soon anyway. And the chances of them having something that you need are pretty slim because in all honesty, you're going to get more value from going around looting other things rather than looting dead PMCs. Not only that, but when you get into a gunfight with somebody early wipe, you're going to attract a lot of attention and there's going to be a ton of players and player scavs swarming over to your location, and it's just going to decrease your rate of survival drastically. Make sure you're taking into account the risk factor of getting into a fight and making sure that you choose your fights wisely. Tip number 4. As a solo player, it's extremely important for you to constantly be moving around quickly from one place to another. You don't want to be stuck into a situation where maybe you're inside of a building and then all of a sudden you hear multiple footsteps rolling up on you and you have nowhere to go, and all you can do is just try to fight off a horde of players. So if you're queuing in solo, then you're going to want to be able to try to loot as fast as you can and keep moving from one area to the next. Take for example something like Crack House on Customs. If you get a good spawn there, then yes, absolutely go loot it, but you want to be as quick as you can and get in and get out. Crack House, like a lot of other places, early wipe are hotspots because just like you, there's tons of other players who need their Saliwas to do their quest. And they're going to be going right for that building, try to get the med supplies that spawn there. So you're going to want to get in there and get out as fast as you can. That way you can avoid getting trapped in there by a team or another player. But learn some of the spawn locations for some of these items that you're going to need, and don't spend too much time in one location, because eventually there is going to be players that wander around and stumble upon you. It's inevitable, and early wipe, there are random players everywhere. You truly can never really predict where players are going to be, and if everybody's trying to take their safest route, then chances are there's going to be some people that run into each other thinking that there's no possible way that anybody else can be on this route. But in early wipe, chances are you're probably going to run into a lot of players doing that. So make sure to loot fast and keep on your way to avoid getting stuck in locations where you have to fight your way out of. And the last tip for this video, tip number 5, don't get too greedy. This goes for a lot of players, not just people that play in solo. But don't get too greedy whenever you're playing early white Tarkov. If you get something that you need, then yes, just get out with that item and turn it in. You don't need to get a full backpack every single raid, and in most cases, it's better for you to not get a full backpack. Getting a full backpack is going to slow you down and make you overweight anyway. So if you do get some items that you need, then you can just leave. You don't have to stick around. Just get out with what you can and get back into the next raid. Surviving more with less items is better than risking it all to get a full backpack and dying most of the time. It's better to get something than nothing. But don't get too greedy whenever you're looting. And this goes especially for if you kill a player. If you kill a player early wipe, then chances are there's probably going to be another teammate or somebody else waiting to kill you when you go loot them. In the wise words of Lvndmark, if there's 1, there's 2, if there's 2, there's 3, if there's 3, there's 4, if there's 4, there's 5, and so on and so forth. What he means by that is typically when you kill one player, there's going to be another one there. If there's another one there, then there's going to be another one there after that. It's inevitable. Players get drawn towards gunshots, even if they're not part of the same squad. If you're not fast with your looting, someone's going to find you looting that body, and you're going to be an easy kill for them. So, if you do get a kill and you are going to go loot their body, make sure you're thorough with investigating the area before proceeding. Or if you kill them in a bad spot where they're out in the open and there's no cover for you to loot, you don't have to loot that body. Don't get too greedy. Don't feel like you're forced to loot a body or a kill that you get just because you killed them. You don't have to loot that player. You can let that body go and just keep moving on your way towards extract. There's not a rule that says you have to loot that body because it could end up in your death. That's something that's happened to me quite often in the past, and now that I look back at it, the players that I killed probably didn't even have anything on them anyway worth looting, and it was my greed that got me killed. So don't be greedy, take what you can get, and live to fight another day. And for those of you who are still watching, I'm going to be giving you a bonus tip here. Tip number 6, utilize your scavs. If you're still nervous about going in solo, or you have a hard time surviving, use your scav raids every time that you can, especially early wipe, because it's just free money and free gear. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Scavs are super underrated early wipe, and just because other players and big streamers don't use their scavs as often, doesn't mean that's not a great tool for you to utilize. So make sure you're using that scav until you're more comfortable using your PMC to maneuver around the map. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like the video if you're excited for this upcoming wipe. And comment down below if you're going to be running in a duo, trio, squad, or if you're going in solo. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more Tarkov in the coming future. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.